Hello, you are welcome to the channel. In today's video, we want to look at some likely JAMB questions in the subject of literature in English. We shall be using the 2023 JAMB past questions as examples. The first question says, the writing convention in which the events in the narrative are scrambled as they come to the writer's mind without any attempt to arrange them in orderly sequence is called A. Psychoconsciousness styles, B. Narrator's mind style, C. Shifting style, D. Stream of consciousness. Now, this kind of writing, the ideas come to the writer's mind. The writer begins to write them down. As they come to the mind, he begins to write them without having the time to arrange them in the orderly sequence. That style is called the stream of consciousness. That is option D. Looking at other options, option A, psychoconsciousness style, I've never heard of that in literature. Even narrator's mind style and shifting style, those styles do not really exist in literature. But then there is stream of consciousness. Option D. Let's go to number 2. The tragic character is the person whose experiences arouse pity and dash. The tragic character is the person whose experiences arouse pity and dash. A. Sympathy. B. Terror. C. Horror. D. Frustration. A tragic character. In classical tragedy, a tragic character is one whose downfall evokes pity and terror. That is, it is not sympathy, it evokes pity and terror. There is this fear. After the feeling of pity for this tragic character, there is this feeling of fear that evokes in the audience mind. This emotion is central to the concept of catharsis, the emotion purging or cleansing that tragedy aims to achieve. So, it is the feeling of pity and terror. Option B. In number 3, a limerick has dash. A limerick has dash. A. Honest style, humor, irony, and 7 lines. B. Formal and elaborate style and humor. C. Humor, rhyme scheme, and 5 lines. D. A stringing climax, rhyme scheme, and 5 lines. If you are not familiar with the type of poem called limericks, you might not really be able to answer this particular question correctly. Now, let me show you an example of a limerick. I have this one. There was a young lady of Norway who casually sat on a doorway. When the door squeezed her flat, she exclaimed, "What's of that?" This courageous young lady of Norway. Now, this is an example of a limerick. From what we have, first of all, it has 5 lines. And looking at the content of the poem, you can see that it contains humor. And of course, it has a specific rhyming scheme. A, A, B, B, A. And that makes option C the correct option. It has humor, rhyming scheme, and 5 lines. Let's go to number 4. The process of creating characters and endowing them with certain attitude is dash. Action, character, characterization, dramatis personae. Now, the question says the process of creating characters and giving them roles, that is endowing them with certain attitudes. This attitude as at the humans, the roles these particular characters are meant to play. So it is not action, because that is what they carry out in drama. It is not really character, because we are creating character. It is actually characterization. Characterization. Option D says dramatis personae. What is actually dramatis personae? Dramatis personae is a plural noun which is used to refer to the characters in a particular work of literature, especially in drama. Number 5, read the excerpt and answer the question. But creatures that hang themselves up like an old rag to sleep and disgustingly upside down. The theme of this excerpt is dash. All of the above: the poet's right to individual choice, the poet's admiration for the beauty of nature, the poet's appalling remarks about the bird. If you have read a poem Bat by D.H. Lawrence, you would understand what the poet is trying to bring out. But from the information in the excerpt that is given to us, the information is enough for us to find the correct option. Bat, look at that exclamation mark. It shows emotion. Is it surprise? Is it hatred? But let's see the following line. Creatures that hang themselves up like an old rag. Look at that word, old rag. It is not a word of admiration. To sleep and disgustingly upside down. Look at that adverb, disgustingly. It means the poet does not like bat. Old rag, disgustingly. It shows hatred, shows disgust. That means option D is the correct option. The poet's appalling remark about the bird. Number 6, using the name of one thing for something else with which it is closely associated in an instance is called paradox, parody, parallelism, metonymy. Let's go through the question again. Using the name of one thing for something else with which it is closely associated. If you look at those options one after the other, paradox is a self-contradictory statement. Parody is a work of literature that imitates another work of literature in a ridiculous or ironical way. Parallelism is the repetition of the same grammatical structure in lines of poetry. So the only option is metonymy. Metonymy is the use of one thing for something else with which it is closely associated. The closest figure of speech to this is synecdoche, and thanks to God, it is not part of our option, metonymy, option D. In number 7, which of these is the oldest genre of literature? Which of these is the oldest genre of literature? Aroma, poetry, drama, prose. First of all, option A, aroma, is not a genre of literature. So let's eliminate it. Now we have poetry, drama, and prose. Well, poetry actually began as an oral literature before the invention of writing materials. Before we even have paper, before we even have pen or board or anything, poetry has existed long before drama and prose. So poetry is the oldest genre of literature. Number 8, we have an excerpt. It says, as virtuous men pass mildly away and whisper to their soul to go, why some of their sad friends do say, the breath goes now, and some say no. This is from John Donne's Valediction, Forbidden Mourning. Now the question says, the tone of this poem is generally A, conversational, B, imaginative, C, serious, D, appreciative. Now, if you look at this particular excerpt very well, John Donne's Valediction, this poem is a solemn reflection on death. It compares the quiet passing of a good friend to the speaker's own impending separation from his beloved ones. The tone is serious, marked by calm dignity and emotional restraint. The poet uses metaphysical imagery and philosophical reasoning to bring out the theme of this particular poem. So the tone is not conversational because he was not having any conversation with someone. It is not a monologue. The tone is not imaginative. Death is not something we really imagine. It exists for real. It is non-fictional, and the tone does not appreciate anything. Actually, the tone is serious. Option C. Number 9, cast in a play refers to 3 of the actors, a few of the actors, an exclusive social class in the play, all the actors. Cast in a play refers to, well, cast is simply a list of all the actors in a play. All the actors, all of them. That is option D. In number 10, a panegyric poem is composed to condemn, elaborate, abuse, praise. A panegyric poem is composed to, is it to condemn, to elaborate, to abuse, or to praise? A panegyric is a formal speech or a written piece that offers praise for someone or something. So it's actually to praise. That is option D. Okay, that is all I've got as far as this video is concerned. Okay, do well to subscribe to the channel and drop some nice comment. Thank you for always being here. See you another time. Bye-bye.